I think this could be a good segment. And shout out to Homath, by the way. I've had him on the show. Very interesting guy that has a really interesting way of presenting things. So this is kind of like, addresses hoflation a little bit. I think we talked about the other day, and I think Hannah Claire was like, I don't know what you're talking about. But
I
also,
never know what you're talking about. That's part of my boomer charm.
Yeah, it's charmful, all right. But then then he talks a little bit about like why people, I guess just put it on, share your screen, and make sure to enable audio. It's only 4 minutes long, but feel free to pause it like when we want to react to something. Yeah.
Okay, let's see if this audio works.
Yeah, I just saw.
Say a prayer to the boomer saints.
I wanted to get the Estro take on this.
Pursue me
because they are the same guys that everyone is.
Did you miss her question? There you go.
Please make it make sense. Why do guys that I'm interested in end up not wanting to pursue me?
Because they are the same guys that everyone is interested in.
And then guys that I'm not interested in pursue me and pursue me hard and do not give up.
Because those are the guys that nobody is interested in.
Please make it make sense.
Okay. Human beings are born with a sense of fairness. We like to think that the universe is fair and everything evens out, but it's not and it doesn't. We think that things work a certain way, but it's actually just a feeling that we need to have. Otherwise, life would be a nightmare. We like to believe that there is someone out there for everyone, but in reality, it's only a few guys that are attractive to all the girls. The rest of these guys are practically invisible until they do something extra. And then.
Okay, look, I think that logically,
Melonie's here. She's got a take.
A lot of this is sound, but it's also in practice, it's not entirely true because all the women I know, we have different taste in men. Like, it's like they might think, oh, this guy's so hot, and it's just like, I'm not into him at all. And then guys I'm attracted to, then they're like, so I don't fully agree with that. Now, I think if you're talking about just the bare minimum of this guy showers, this guy, actually puts in some sort of effort. I think there's that level, but other than that, I don't think it's necessarily just this specific small portion of men that all the women want, because I think of my friends, it's like we all have different types.
Well, as the guy who he's talking about here in the 9, maybe 10 space, I can say that in fact all women do want me. But it is, I understand.
But he got married as like a child. He was a child groom, so.
Yeah, but I had to endure an endless onslaught of courting women courting me. I couldn't take it any longer. But one
of my best guy friends from high school, I remember I saw him after he had been in college for like a year or two, whatever, and he was like, oh yeah, I never buy women drinks, they just buy them for me. And he is like very good looking, but it's also like it's icky hearing you say that. Like, I don't know, there's something about it.
Yeah, that's like, a little cringe. Yeah, that's yeah.
The thing is, I've also heard that dating apps have messed some of this up because they screw with the perception of
He talks about that. Yeah, he talks about that coming up.
Okay. See, me and this guy. Same brain. Should I keep going?
Yeah.
And you notice them. In other words, they have to make up for their lack of attractiveness by being extra nice. That means that all women dream of being with just a few exciting men, so there's not enough to go around. So if we match 1-to-1, that means that most women will never get what they're looking for. This used to work better because women kind of had to get married when they had less power, so most people would match 1-to-1. But now that you have your own money, we don't match 1-to-1 anymore. We threw all those rules out the window, and now everything is a mess.
I think it's not just own money, though. Some of it is like, it seems like the internet and the way we move socially through society now makes it seem like there's endless option and endless time.
Yeah, dating apps are part of that too.
Right. Like I can't tell you how many this gets joked about in like Jane Austen novels or like different novels where like women will be like, yeah, I had one guy propose to me once, but at the time I sent him off. I didn't realize men were so scarce. Whereas now women perceive it as like they have endless options. And I think because of the proportionality on dating apps, men are willing to like date OkCupid had a study on this. Like they would date people they wouldn't normally approach at a bar,
Right.
because it seems like there are fewer options for them.
But there's also, I think there's another study on dating apps that said basically the top 5% of women get 100% of the pool on those dating apps. Like,
yeah,
Right.
for sure.
so like, and that's probably true for men too, women and men.
Right.
Like when we're talking about traditionally attractive, not like me where I break the mold,
Oh, of
but
course.
like a traditionally attractive person, you know, there are exceptions. But he does get into, he mentions this book coming up here that kind of I had like in my head. So I guess let him keep going.
Because women are no longer marrying who they must, and instead they are pursuing who they want, and it's all the same few guys. Let's say this is you. This is the guy that you're looking for, and he isn't interested in committing because he's got all the attention he can handle, and so does he. And here is the guy who's looking for you, and you're not interested in him, and neither is anyone else, except maybe her, but then he doesn't want to commit to her either. To make matters worse, dating apps give people the illusion of more options than they really have. So when you say,
Please make it make sense.
that is your brain trying to believe that people naturally pair off with someone at their own level. But that's not how nature works. Nature makes all the women want
It's like
these few
hypergamy.
men, and then these men want these women who are not interested because they want Prince Charming, although Prince Charming is busy. And then these girls way down here
Such a good
are
line.
pursuing these guys.
Like, how many times do you see couples in a relationship, and if one of them is more attractive than the other, it's more women being the more attractive one than the other way around?
Oh,
It's
it's
like-
almost always that way, right?
Yeah, how many times
Yeah,
do you
that's
see
how my
where it's
marriage
like,
is.
oh, this man is way hotter than his wife?
Yeah.
That's not
I
that
think
common.
I do see that sometimes though, and I
do
often find
sometimes,
it's when
but-
they met on dating apps. Like that's
Right.
what I hear.
Oh.
Like, and I
Okay.
wonder if that has to do with like so much of that has to do with self perception. Like the girl in the beginning of the video when she's like, "Oh well, you know, guys who are on my level or whatever," she says like they don't want me, but the guys I don't want do want me. It's like I don't know that you are actually gauging your value correctly. Not to like,
Well,
I
and-
think that's
or anything.
definitely a thing, but I do think that women date down in looks a lot. It does
Yeah.
happen. So it's
That, yeah.
And
Well,
men
that's what
value
he's saying.
looks higher than
But
women.
that's what he's
Women
saying
value
here.
a bunch of other stuff.
Hold on. So that's what he's saying here. Like a 10 is not someone who's hot and rich. It's somebody, or it's like you can be, he's saying basically you can either be hot or you can have other shit that
right.
women find attractive. So like, you know, if you have a sense of humor, maybe you're normally a 6 in looks, but that makes you an 8. And if you have money, it might make you a 9. So it's like when I think when he's talking about 10 men and you know, just because I've seen his videos so many, many of his videos,
Right.
You're a huge fan.
he's not just saying just only hot dudes. So like you're saying sometimes women marry down in looks, but maybe that guy's got a great sense of humor, or he's got money, or he brings something, if he brings something else to the table, which is that other chart. I have his book of all the charts, and they play out so true, like almost all the time. That other chart he shows where it's like you can be, go back to the other chart, click back. I think like maybe just scrub back a little bit till he shows that other chart. Not the ladies and guys. Keep going.
This one?
Keep going. Nope, not that one. Keep going. He only shows it for like that. Not there. Keep going. Okay, I'm not. Maybe he. I thought he flashed on the screen for a second. There, that one. So you see,
situationship mid, situationship bad, creep though.
yeah.
This is amazing.
But if you give it time to like, if you actually do the, if you play it out logically, you have different types of ways to increase your score up to a 10 versus, so anyway, yeah, go back to where he was. Cause he gets into this thing where I think right about there is probably fine. Yeah.
Want Prince Charming, although Prince Charming is busy. And then these girls way down here are pursuing these guys who don't
But
want
they
to
don't
be
want
seen
them.
with them.
Yeah.
People love to forget that we are nature, we are animals, and we have a lower biological nature. And nature doesn't say, I should pick someone appropriate for me. Nature says I should get the best I possibly can, which creates a market. This website on walrus reproduction says that one male is shared by 23 females. At certain points in our history, 17 women reproduced for every one man, and throughout all of history, only 40% of men reproduce, compared to almost 90% of women. So this is not new. It's just what male mammals do when nothing stops them. And if you want to go back to everyone matching one by one, then you have to go back to the rules that made it happen. But you said you didn't like those. So the reason that people no longer pair up one by one is that sexual freedom makes society collapse. This guy wrote a book about it. And
That's true.
just look at him. He tried to warn you.
That's right.
You're right.
Sorry, I'm laughing too hard.
This
It's
is-
like the picture of Seattle like goes to rubble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's exactly.
This is what I thought you'd like, Melonie, because that's
Yeah.
what I mean. You should read this guy's book because, like, have your take, but then scroll back a little bit after Melonie has her take, and then play this last section through because this guy
that's-
gets it. Yeah.
I 1000% agree with that. And one thing that this sexual freedom has done is that it's caused people to live very selfishly, because if they are not respecting the sanctity of sex within a marriage, and they're looking at it as just, hey, treat yourself, this is something I can do for myself because I like it, and it's just from a very carnal, animalistic, selfish mindset, then yeah, this does happen. This is why the Bible is correct. And if we're in a society functioning according to biblical values, then this wouldn't be a thing, because we wouldn't all act like animals.
Yeah. I think that the misalignment is one of the worst parts. I just watched this video of a girl saying, like, I just got out of a 7-year relationship. We got together when we were like, in our early 20s, and we owned a house together. And she's alluding to things like, we didn't agree on marriage. So my assumption is she wanted to get married and he didn't. But then later she's like, oh, it basically comes out she wanted to get married, but she didn't want to have kids. And he didn't want to get married unless he knew that she wanted to have kids. And so she's like, we broke up. We should have talked about this earlier. But some of these, like, these conversations are just modern. Like, the idea that you wouldn't have children is a new, because we've had the birth control revolution, a new concept. Okay, I'll scrub back and play this for you.
Yeah, because when we were talking about the effect of, because he hits it in the last 30 seconds of this video, like the sexual freedom, pornography, same thing, right? There's this book that was written in the 1930s that predicted all of this, and go ahead, play it. Yeah, that's the book he's going to talk about.
Freedom makes society collapse. This guy wrote a book about it, and just look at him. He tried to warn you. Here, I know none of you are going to read this. The whole of human history does not contain a single instance of a group becoming civilized unless it has been absolutely monogamous. Nor is there any example of a group retaining its culture after it has adopted less rigorous customs.
Correct.
So the reason the guys you like don't like you, and the other way around, is because that's what people do when you let them.
When you let them.
Okay, that was a good.
I figured
argument.
he'd come back to you. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I just thought if it was on, because I do see a lot of red pillars that get into this animalistic ideology, and it's just like, and they almost act like that's okay. And what he's doing is saying, okay, this is the animalistic nature of how things work, but it's not a good thing. This is why we need monogamy, is how society functions better. So when people are left to their animalistic behaviors, then things are chaotic. So yeah, okay, he wrapped it up. That's good. That's good.
Some of his stuff I understand women won't like, but you also must acknowledge it. Men must feel that way too. And I think he's also talking about women's plight too.
Right.
Like, there's a lot of, there's a reason there's like hardly any homeless women. But there's also, like, I'm not one of those people that like, oh, women just have it easy and they're the root of all that's evil. Because remember, like, this hypergamy or I don't know if that's how you pronounce it,
Hypergamy.
But like hypergamy, it takes two. Like,
yeah,
you can't just say the women are participating in it. The
Exactly.
men are too.
They
Yeah.
are. Yeah.
But the argument is that it's all happening at the top 20%. And it's been a while since I was single in my 20s, and I wasn't single during dating apps. But I do have friends who are good looking and use dating apps. And, they would have a hookup like every night. Most of them are still single now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because it ruins them. But I just, the whole reason I thought about that video was that last 10 seconds where Melonie, you were talking about how, porn leads to hypergamy, leads to
Right. That's
all this
true.
kind of stuff. And, I'll end this segment with a spicy take, but look which cultures practice this type of behavior more, and then look what happens to them. If you were to take a group of people, let's say you take a group of people who lead the United States in fatherless homes.
Right.
And then look at crime statistics.
I mean, it's true. It's like a crazy high amount of the women in that demographic will never be married, and
Right.
it's like, I mean, and it's sad, but that's the thing is people want to act like too, and this is like that Trojan horse where the sexual freedom, this is good for women. No, it hurts women because those who are practicing it the most, and the demographics of people who are practicing it the most, well, they're the women who don't get married, and most women do want to get married.
And
there's a benefit to being married. Like, it's not just like, oh, I want to be married. Like, marriage forms an institution that makes a strong nuclear family that benefits children. Children who are born into homes where parents are married fare better across the board. And to go back and be like, oh, no, it's fine. Like, we don't need these institutions that have been around forever. Like, there's a reason they exist. Sure, you can get better at marriage and different cultures can evolve to have healthier relationships. But generally, there is a reason that cultures that are successful tend to follow that pattern of having monogamous families.
Almost exclusively, or at least valuing. So even if you're not in a monogamous family, if you value it, you're still participating positively to the culture.
Right.
I think when you end up with this situation where men and women, but let's be honest, women are the gatekeepers in terms of hookups. But when everyone's giving it away for free, then there's no incentive to settle down, because especially for men who are so we like our poontang, and men. I mean, if you look at nature, okay, there are, I think, almost zero animals that mate for life, maybe one or two. There's it's not zero, but it's like one or two.
There's some, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, the biological programming is to reproduce a bunch with as many mates as you can. And but there's also a reason that, apes don't rule the world. And, all these other things, part of being more civilized is understanding the values of monogamy. Mm-hmm. And that's not my opinion. That's the facts.
Yeah.
That's just, you look at any inner city where they have, everybody's got 5 baby daddies and all this crap. Mm-hmm. How much of it, I'm sorry,
And look at polyamorous people.
They're all degenerate.
Just look at them.
Yeah, just look at them.
Polyamorous, look at them.